Good morning. Welcome to Homebuilt Workshop. Welcome to Wednesday Live, where we spend an hour or so hanging out, talking about shop, talking projects, talking what you're working on, what I'm working on. I hope you are doing awesome. Welcome to the live stream. Let's see here. Paul's here. Paul, you beat me. Good morning. Paul says, want to say hello, busy at work, may or may not be available. Fun. Have a great week, everyone. Right on, Paul. You have a great week, too. Hope you're doing good. The guitars are looking awesome, man. I've seen the finished pictures that you've been posting. Nice. They turned out good. Cool. And Paul, if you don't get a chance to tune back in, I hope you have a great day and a great rest of your week. Make sure everything's set correctly here. There we go. I think. Right on. Well, what's everybody up to? What's on your workbench this Wednesday? Give everybody a few minutes to kind of get tuned in here before we jump in to the discussion. Just a side note, I've said it before, quite a lot actually, but these lives are always just a open conversation. We always end up talking about, it seems like, one particular topic in a little bit more depth, but if you got a question, throw it out there. It doesn't matter, doesn't have to be anything particular. It's not like it's just a live stream about any certain thing. It's workshop stuff, whatever you're building. Don't hesitate. If we're talking about something completely opposite, you got a question, throw it out there. Do a lot of brainstorming and kind of working through different projects and things. So if we're talking about one thing in particular, don't worry about it. Throw it out there. Open conversation. I don't know what else to call it. It sounds kind of weird, but I don't know what else to say. Time Surfing Alien says, good morning. Happy Father's Day. Hey, good morning to you. And thank you. Happy Father's Day to everybody that is a father. I don't even know when that is, to be quite honest with you. Is that this weekend? I don't know. I don't keep up with a lot of that stuff, but thank you for the reminder. Guess I better figure that out. It's this Sunday. Well, thank you. There's your reminder. This Sunday is Father's Day, so make sure you wish everyone that you need to wish a happy Father's Day. Talk to your dads. Right on. Cool. Thanks for keeping me on track. I would have missed it probably. That'd have been bad. What's everybody got on the workbench? I have. Well, last week, if you saw the video, you saw that I took a few minutes away from working on this base endeavor, and I just had to spend a few minutes working on something different, or a few days, I guess I should say, and just trying to. I worked on rebuilding that cigar box guitar, and using some of the skills that I've been learning through building this base, and transfer that over. And actually, it's been really cool. Haven't been able to play that, like I said in the video. If you haven't seen it, go back and watch the latest video where I rebuilt that cigar box guitar. It was one of my earliest builds. I should have brought it out here, but I didn't. One of my earliest builds, and didn't really turn out all that great. Now, it's all fixed. All the issues were remedied, and that thing is cool. I've been actually playing it almost every day a little bit. It's so much better to play. Everything doesn't bend and bow, and really glad I took the time to do that. Plus, it was kind of nice taking a little bit of time away from this, which I'm still working on. But yeah, go check out the latest video, rebuilding the cigar box guitar. Did a little multi-scale fretboard on that, blind fret slots. Turned out really cool. just overall, just a fun project. Like I said, it was really kind of nice to just take a few days and not worry about this for a bit, because now I'm back to that. Which I guess we'll jump into here shortly. Time Surfing says, still fighting my clutch. Can't get the air bled out. Got a pneumatic bleeder. Gonna try today. Really, that's weird. I have done, I've done clutch, I've replaced clutch master cylinders and stuff before, and I guess I've never really quite run into an issue. But it's very similar. I know you know that, but just to bleeding brakes. Pump and let bleeds, and air shoots out and fluid squirts in your face, and hopefully that pneumatic one works. Pull a little vacuum on it. That's weird. Sorry you're having trouble with that. You'll get it. I know you will. Ace Man McCool says, hi all. Just wanted to say, enjoyed the rebuild video. Wasn't sure what you meant, but the style of frets. Yeah, thank you. I'm super, like I was just saying, I really like the way that thing plays now. And it's not necessarily due to the way the frets are laid out or anything, but just overall having that more stable neck, so much better. But yeah, I did a multi-scale. I think that's where I was going a second ago. Did a multi-scale fretboard, or fan frets, where the frets aren't exactly at an angle. They kind of do this number from nut to the other end. That was just something I wanted to play around with, wanted to try it out. I've always kind of thought those were interesting. I've never played a guitar that's built like that, so I just wanted to play around with it. And Brian, can't even talk. The blind fret slots, and I realize that now that I'm thinking about that video, I didn't really show that up close, and now I wish that I've done that. Let's use this one. The blind fret slots are where the fret slot doesn't go all the way to the end. So you don't see, this one just has a sample kind of in here. You don't see the end of the fret tang. A lot of times, well, on a lot of guitars actually, unless they have like a binding, you'll see the end of the fret slot there, the end of the fret wire. In a blind fret slot, the slot is cut short, and then you nip the fret tang off, and then it gives it, I don't know, gives it a cleaner look, I think. But I also am wondering, and I'm not sure how to really test this, I'm almost thinking it might give a little bit stronger neck. I don't know. What do you guys think? If you don't, it's kind of like if you put a whole bunch of slices, close together in a piece of wood, it really makes it bend, right? So I wonder what sort of strength is added if you're not cutting all the way through. It's probably a negligible amount. Well, there's a big word for me this morning. But I feel like it maybe does something. I don't know. But it looks cool. And yeah, that's what I didn't show in the video. And now that I'm thinking about that. So if you were curious as to what a blind fret slot was, and you were hoping to learn in that video, I'm sorry, I didn't show that. I goofed up, I guess. But that's what it is. Just just something different. Sam's here. Sam says hello, everyone. Hello, Sam. Good morning to you. Good afternoon to you. Haha, see, I caught myself. Paul says, working on the guitar for Elvis's guitarist, James Burton, on my second neck for this build as he keeps changing things. Oh, boy. That's funny. Not really, but yeah. That's so cool, man. That's going to be awesome. I can't wait to see that one come together. Sam says, a stable neck is a good thing. It is. It is a very good thing. Both this neck and this neck. Jimmer's here. Jimmer says, what's up? What's going on, man? What are you up to this fine Wednesday morning? Man, it's turned into summer almost here, which is pretty much what I expected it to do. We get about a week of very nice spring weather, and then poof, straight into summer. June is typically summer. It's supposed to be like 90 or 92 or something tomorrow. Craziness. It's pretty nice right now, but I think later today it's gonna start warming up a bit more. Terry's here. Terry says, hello, Jeff and all. Hope you're all having a great day. Well, same to you, Terry, and thank you. Yeah, we're doing awesome. It's great. The temperature's good. The weather's nice. We're getting some work done, making some sawdust, and hope you're having an awesome day too. Time Surfing says, I would guess minimal. Yeah, I kind of feel the same, pretty minimal, but I don't know. It's just something that I'd thought about, and I don't know. That's why I was throwing it out there. I'm not really sure. Donna's here. Donna, hey, coffee up. Coffee up, Donna. Good morning. Cheers, everyone. Hope you have some coffee or some tea or whatever it is you like to drink at whatever time of day it is. For me, it's coffee, at least for a little bit longer. And Scott's here. Scott says, good morning, Jeff. Another meeting canceled. Yes. Right on, Scott. How are you doing this fine Wednesday? Gotta love those canceled meetings. Corey says sometimes when you're running a new system on bleeding out your brakes, it's always best to stay with the old school way instead of trying something new. I mean, I agree with that, but it's having issues getting the air bled out. It's not cooperating for some reason. So I don't know. Time Surfing. We have some very experienced minds in here at the moment. So there's what if you want to share, what exactly are you working on, and you're trying to get the clutch bled? And I'm pretty sure someone in here can maybe chime in with some tips. But Corey, I agree with you. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Donna says nothing like working 4 hours and getting paid for 8. Score. Right on. And Sam with the super chat. Sorry, I just yelled at everyone. Right on, Sam. Thank you. He says towards a drink for the legend. Right on. I'm gonna have to stock up on coffee here before long, so thank you. Very much appreciated. Right on, Sam. Robert says, hello, everyone. Good morning, Robert. How are you doing this Wednesday morning? Jimmer's working on a Corvette transmission and a Lamborghini power steering pump. A Lamborghini? in the town there? Really? That's pretty cool. You get all kinds of cool stuff. What are you doing with the transmission? You have to like replace it or something? Dang, a Lamborghini. Sam says, don't forget to smash the like button. It's totally free. It is. Right on, Sam. Thank you. Yeah, if you guys hit that button right now. Just hit that thing. I don't know where it is for you, but it's right there for me. But Time Surfing says to Corey, yeah, it's been going the traditional way. It's not working. Paul says, this build might convince me to get a CNC. Just in case of indecisive customers. Quicker to redo. Sometimes, yes. You have to redo the model and all that stuff. But yeah, see, there's always reasons. I'm not trying to tell anybody one way or another how to do things, but there you go. Robert says, I got my trees trimmed and fence line cleared out. Got a nasty case of poison ivy on my hands and forearms. Oh no. Oh, Robert, I'm sorry to hear that. You know, it's kind of weird. Poison ivy grows quite a bit where I grew up, and I cannot recall ever having poison ivy that I knew of. I don't know if I was just lucky enough to never get into it, but I don't remember ever having it. Surely, I was always running through the woods and, goofing around in the woods and things, and I feel like I really don't think I've ever gotten it. Or maybe I'm just not allergic to it or whatever. I don't know. But that was always something I was sort of on the lookout for, but I just never, I don't know, never really got it. Scott says, can you use a vacuum to assist in bleeding? Some type of hand pump vacuum to pull through. He's waiting on the thing. I don't know, I'm guessing to show up or whatever. That is the next step. And that would probably be, I hope that works. Kind of the last option. I don't know. Sam says, tip, don't eat yellow snow. It's not lemon flavor. No, it's not. Paul says to Robert, ouch. Have definitely felt that pain. Calamine lotion time. Yep, I remember the calamine. Corey says, are you working on an automatic or standard? It's going to be an automatic with a master cylinder. You wouldn't have that master cylinder in the auto. Robert says, yeah, not fun. Time Surfing says it's a 5-speed Dodge. Scott says to Paul, where do you live? We'll sell mine here, but not of the box. 50% off. Huh, what is it, Scott? I think, didn't you buy a 1Finity? Seems like I remember that at one time. I don't remember. Jimmer says, clutches can be fun, painful. Phoenix Bleed Tool has saved my butt several times. A Corvette getting a new transmission. Yeah, so Jimmer, any ideas why it would be hard or the bleeding wouldn't work doing it the pump and bleed thing? Any thoughts on that? Like could it be the air bubble, like due to the height of a certain, I don't know. Paul says, I think only 1 in 7 are actually allergic. Ain't it sucky to be the 1 in 7? Interesting. Paul, I don't think I've ever heard that statistic. 1 in 7. Huh. Yeah, maybe that's the case. Maybe I've been in it who knows how many times and I'm just not allergic. I don't know. Time Surfing Alien says, 3 years ago I was helping a friend clear some land and got poison ivy on my face. Oh no. Had to shave my beard of 10 years. Still hasn't recovered. Oh, that sounds terrible. Corey says, time Surfing with a standard, they have fingers that grab the throwout bearing. It'd be the shift fork, or the clutch fork, I mean. Throw out the bearing if you're changing the transmission. Best to park on a little grade. Yeah, maybe so. Yeah, Scott's got the 1Finity. That's what I thought, Scott. I remember you mentioning that before. There you go. There's just a thought. Which one did you get, Scott? Sorry, there's sawdust on the top of my cup. Which one do you have? Is it the what size? X50 or the 35? Robert said, for the longest time, I did not have any issues with ivy either. I was pulling vines one summer and about halfway through, got some scratches on my hands. I got the rash and have had issues since. Oh, man. Corey says, I already gave the idea. Right on. Thank you, Corey. Paul says, what's interesting is that cashews contain urusol, the poison ivy itch juice. But when they are cooked, the itch juice sounds terrible. Oh, boy. It says it gets rid of it. No such thing as raw cashews. Interesting. Corey says, make sure you have throwout bearing lineup tool. You have to have that. Yeah, that little spliny deal. I got some of those around here somewhere. I can't get the drawer open far enough to grab it, so I'm not going to grab it. Robert says sawdust just adds flavor. Jimmer says air trapped usually, and clutch master sometimes are angled, trapping it. Phoenix reverse bleeds it by pushing the fluid up to the master. Oh, wow. Pushes it up. Interesting. Oh, that explains it. The reverse bleed tool. Huh. Scott's got the X50 with much of the accessories. I'm in Knoxville. Yep, that's what I have. The X50. Is yours the woodworker or the journeyman? Mine is the woodworker, the 32 by 32. There you go. Good deal for someone who's looking for a brand new machine. So, okay, so Scott's got the woodworker, the exact same machine as mine. So, yeah, there you go. Anybody interested, shoot Scott a message. Time Surfing Alien says, change the throwout last year, no issues. Then change the master, can't get it to pump up. Should have done both when I did the throwout. Yeah, sometimes I've definitely done that. Replace something and you have to, you don't replace another component that goes with it. And then later on, you have to replace the component that you should have replaced before. I've definitely been there. And that's usually a lesson. It's like when you're in there, do everything. And that's something that I try to do now, with not just with cars, if there's anything in particular that I'm working on and I can replace something else that I have to remove. I mean, unless there's absolutely no reason, but there's a lesson in there and I've definitely been there. I'm sorry you're having trouble and I hope that the vacuum thing works for you. You'll get it. It's just a headache when stuff doesn't cooperate. Of course, as when you're changing the throwout bearing, best to change the fluid at times. Depends on how dirty the fluid is. That's why you go by. Oh, that's what you go by. Hope this helps you. Time Servant says, thanks, Corey. Yeah. Robert says, my pile of limbs and brush I got removed is about 5 foot high, maybe 12 to 14, and about 20 to 25 feet long. That is quite the brush pile. Something that I miss being able to do is, when you, it seems like when I was growing up anyway, I lived in a pretty wooded area. There's always a brush pile of something. But then it seems like at some point, you got to light that brush pile on fire, have a nice, bonfire, basically. I don't know if you can do that there, but that was always something I really enjoyed. I know my grandpa used to always, he's always cutting firewood and always had a brush pile. And I remember, these things would be massive, like, and he'd light them up. But, yeah. Brush pile. Super fun. Roast some marshmallows. Time Surfing Alien says, budgetary restraints limit my parts buying. Oh, yeah. Yep. I know. Totally been there. Well, still there, but... Corey says, oh, you're very welcome. Right on. And look who's here. Look who showed up. Gina's here. Says, hello, all. Good morning. How are you doing today? This morning, I guess. Again, I don't know. What's going on? Glad you could tune in for a few. Dallo's here. Dallo says, good Wednesday. Good Wednesday, Dallo. How are you doing this fine Wednesday? How's your build going? Robert says, no fire here, just waiting on the town to come by and remove the pile. That is cool that they can do that sort of thing. You just pile it out there by the road or something and they just come get it. That's pretty cool. Time surfing alien says, hello, Gina. And a howdy to Dallo. Right on. Gina says, I'm good. My coffee's almost gone. Sad. Here you go. Just take this. Did that work? Right on. So time surfing, I hope that the vacuum thing works out for you and you get that thing going. I'm sure it's got to, right? You pull a vacuum on there. Just don't let the cylinder run dry. Otherwise, you'll be compounding the problem. Corey says, with a big rig truck, the reservoir, whoa, hold on here. Reservoir for the rod goes to the fingers to grab the throat bearing. Replace every 6 months, depending on how many times you use the clutch. Interesting. That sounds like quite a job. I don't know what that is involved, but quite a job every 6 months. Robert says, it's in the ditch on the north side of the house. That's cool. You just throw it in a heap and they come get it. I mean, that's cool. I do remember, like, near the little small town right near where I grew up, they would do that like in the fall. People would rake their leaves out of their yard and they would pile them out by the street, and at some point they would come up with like the county trucks or whatever with a big vacuum and just suck them all up. They just go up the street. I always thought that was kind of neat. Gina says, I got it. Time Surfing says, I'm sure I'll get it eventually. Been wrenching on my own crap my whole life. You and me both, my friend. I still try to do as much as I can. You know, there's certain things now that I don't mess with. But if I can do it, I'm definitely going to give it a shot. You know, the bigger stuff, especially without a garage or, well, without a lift or even a garage. That's what I was trying to say. Some of it's harder, but yep. Robert says, to Gina, how have you been doing? Hope well. Adelo says, my tiny CNC have backlash issues. So these days I'm trying to handle that. Order some springs and maybe it will arrive in 15 hours. Interesting. So yeah, so you're trying to maybe put some springs on it to help with the backlash? Hope you get it worked out. That's not, just issues with stuff. You know, I've been working on trying to fine tune my Z height. Mine uses a probe, a touch probe, but I'm trying to get it fine tuned so that everything is. I'm trying to get it as accurate as I can, and so I've been measuring the probe and entering those settings in there. Because for some reason, I cut this body yesterday. I don't know if you can see that. I got a little ridge here, and I don't know why all of a sudden I got that little ridge on both sides. Now I could just real quick with some sandpaper and blend that in. It would be just fine, but it's a little bit bothersome. There you go. Because it shouldn't be there. In my model, everything is flush. So I'm trying to play around with that Z height, just trying to get that worked out. So I'm in the middle of preparing another scrap blank. This one's it's not sanded or anything. You can see the raggedy edge because it's a little punky. But yeah, I'm just trying to work that out. So I've been messing with my Z height. This probably was a bad idea, but that shouldn't be there. I don't know why it's there. So that's what I'm working out. So Dello, I hope you get your backlash issues sorted out. I'm sure you will. Gina says, I'm good, Robert. Just updating maps. Right on. Jim says, clutch master bleeding is different than brakes. Open the bleeder, then press the pedal. Close the bleeder and see if you have any pedal. If no pedal, start the process again. You know, I'm glad you said that, Jimmer, because it's been a long time since I've worked on a master cylinder of, well, either of any type, but I definitely don't remember that I don't remember the clutch being opposite, to be quite honest. So that is one piece of information that seems to have escaped me. Open the bleeder, then press, close. Huh. Robert says, the town where I live has a few days in the spring. For spring cleanup, they provide a couple of big dumpsters to throw stuff in. Yeah, that's cool. We had that as well. Time Surfing says, yep, Jimmer. Dallo says, it looks cool. I like the design. Thanks, Dallo. Yeah, this is the base that I'm working on still and have been for a very long time, feels like. Yeah, I'm just trying to, it's taken a while. I'm just trying to get everything worked out as best I can. I'm trying to work out all the kinks now because I'm just nervous of when I throw the actual piece of wood on there. I don't want to screw it up because, I mean, some of that stuff, you know, I don't want to have to go buy another piece. This stuff I have on hand. But when it comes to like throwing some mahogany and stuff on there, I just don't want to, I don't want to have, I don't want to create firewood out of stuff that I had to buy. Rather create it out of this stuff that, even though I like it, it's not all that great. Sam says, perhaps start a small business to revamp wood materials for people for a set price to be able to use the refreshed materials, whatever they want, like a reclaimed wood store. Paul says, just remember, being a CNC machinist is easy. It's like riding a bike, except the bike is on fire, you're on fire, everything is on fire. You know, you're not wrong, Paul. That would make a fun shirt. Oh, that's funny. I like it. Yeah, it's easy. The machine does all the dang work for you. Yeah, no. Adela says, do you apply surface mapping when CNC? I don't. Is that what you're using? Surface mapping? And I need to teach me more about that. I'm hearing noises. Why am I hearing noises? I don't know. Dallas says, do you, well, surface mapping. See, I look away for 2 seconds. Corey says, that is very easy for a big rig truck to work on the reservoir for that fluid. Oh, to work on the reservoir. It used to help my dad with his log truck. Cool. Time Surfing says, sorry, Jimmer, misread that. I'll do that. Oh, Time Surfing. Were we both thinking about it backwards? Yeah, try that. Maybe that'll work. Sam says, don't forget to hit the like. Adala says, howdy, Time Surfing. Robert says, is the Z height dependent on the thickness of the blank? If so, may this be a difference in the thickness of the blank? The way I am setting mine up is not. Well, when I set mine up, I'm setting my Z height off of the table for the machine. That way it's always set to the table height. Where the difference comes in is, or what I'm finding is a very critical component to this whole thing, is if you set your model in your modeling software and you say that it's 1.5 inches, and then you zero off of your table, because my table, the table doesn't move, so I zero off of the table. Your piece of wood better be exactly 1.5 inches, because I'm finding that if you say it's 1.5 inches in your software, but then you just sort of, yeah, it's close enough. Close enough does not count. I'm actually under 1.5 inches. Hold up. I'm not. I just solved my problem. It's not my Z height. I misread this. I am over 1.5 inches. That's why I'm getting a step. I misread this totally when I thickness this piece. I'm learning right now, live with you guys. I measure this in several spots. Well, when it was a big square blank, and I'm like, yep, I'm just under 1.5 inches. And then I got that ridge. But then now if I measure this, no, I'm not under. I am slightly over. Yeah. Huh, look at that. We're figuring this out live together. I am slightly over. How did I misread that? But I found that that is a very critical thing. You can't just go, oh, the thickness is close enough. You know, if you're building by hand, right? Or by hand. If you're using router templates, close enough is fine. You know, if you're 1 inch and I like to make my guitar bodies 1.5 inches. I like that thickness. I like the way it feels. But whatever it is, you can just go, yeah, it's close enough. I mean, you can measure it with a dang tape measure and go, yep, that's 1.5 inches. That's fine. Because you're using templates, right? And you're basing your depths off of the top surface. So if I was going to route these at 3/4 of an inch deep using a router, no problem. Because I'm measuring it from the top. If I'm routing this with a router template, it doesn't matter because you're measuring off of this. Your thickness can vary and it makes absolutely no difference. And then, you know, stuff like this, you're going to hand carve. It doesn't matter if it's, you know, a 32nd off or whatever. You know, you can be close enough. With a CNC machine, one of the biggest things that I'm finding is you can't. There is no close enough. If you, like I said, if you have it in your model that your stock is 1.5 inches thick, it dang well better be 1.5 inches thick. And now that I see that I've misread these, now I know that just solved my problem. It's not with my Z height. I totally 100% misread my measurements. And if this was on a piece of, you know, final stock, mahogany, whatever it is I'm using, I'd have been left with a ridge that I have to then blend in with everything else. But yeah, that makes a lot of sense now. Huh. Thanks, guys, for allowing me to figure that out live with you. It's not my Z height at all. In fact, let's just see if I can find a flat spot here. That probably measures on the inside of that ridge. Look at that. You probably can't see that. That's dead on 1.5 inches. So if my stock was actually 1.5 inches, like I said it was, I wouldn't have had that ridge. Huh. Well, now I guess I can go back and set my touch probe dimensions where they were. Boy, don't I feel silly now. That just happened on live, on a live stream. Anyway, we get to learn together. Oh boy. So Robert, but where I was going with that whole thing was Z height is dependent. You can set it up either way. So you can set your Z height on your table, right? Which is what I've been doing, so that because I always know that that's my 0. So it's going to go 1.5 inches and it's going to cut regardless of how high this is. Or you could set it up based on the top surface, and then it'll say, you know, it needs to cut a, you know, 1/4 of an inch down or whatever. Then you wouldn't end up with something like that. it would just reference this. But the way I set it up, would it matter? The reason I use the bottom of my table is because I reference the front corner. I have a notch cut into my wasteboard on the machine that I reference everything from. That wasteboard never moves. The blank can move around, right? So but it's always gonna reference this corner, this notch that I have cut into my wasteboard. Not the home location of the machine, but a fixed location on the wasteboard. That way it always moves from the same location. And then, I just probe the height off of the tabletop. But like I said, if you referenced off the top, you wouldn't get a ridge like that. I should try that. Because then it might not matter as much. But then you have to probe off the top of your material, which is not a big deal. So I'm thinking out loud right now, so bear with me for a moment. Maybe I should try that. Still probe off. No. Yeah, I could still probe off the same location. Set the Z height on the top. I might try that on the piece that I'm getting ready to cut. Huh. But you are right, Robert. May just be a difference in the thickness of the blank. That is correct, because I misread my measurements. But setting the Z height, depending on where you're setting it, could be an issue. Not an issue, but it makes a difference. That's what I'm trying to say. Let's see. Corey says, sometimes on that oil reservoir, we'll have 2 set plugs in it, one on the bottom, one halfway up. Does yours have that? Interesting. Know Your Joe says, good day, everyone. Well, good morning. What's going on? And Highline Guitars is here. Right on. Highline Guitars says, just hit the thumbs up button. Right on. Highline Guitars. What's going on? I was just talking about some of my my learning experiences with getting into this whole CNC machine thing. It's been quite the journey. And I just realized I couldn't figure out why I was getting a weird ridge. And then I realized my blank wasn't the size that I told the machine it was. The thickness. So that explains it. I'm learning all kinds of stuff. Paul says, gotta go. Have a great week, everyone. Right on, Paul. Have an awesome week yourself. Have fun building some more guitars. Right on. Know Your Joe says, which CNC machine are you using, or do you recommend? Well, I don't have it really. I only have experience with the machine that I have. I have zero experience with any other, so I don't really have a big pool of machines, that I could definitely recommend. I've had my machine for almost a year and a half, I guess. And I'm just getting to where I'm feeling mostly comfortable doing guitar stuff with. The particular machine that I personally have is a Onefinity machine. I have the X50 Woodworker. So far, it's been a great machine. I'm just now getting into the more in-depth stuff, doing guitar necks and, flipping parts over and all that sort of thing. I can't recommend, I can recommend the one that I have, but that's the only thing I have experience in. That's what I'm trying to say. I really like my machine. The learning stuff, that's a whole different story. But that is the machine that I have. Jimmer says, you'll probably have to manually pull up on the pedal once you close the bleeder and try pumping it to see if you have pedal. Interesting. Highline says, I probe the top surface of the blank so I don't have to worry about being off, even if the blank's thickness doesn't match my model. That's what I was just thinking through in my head. And I think I'm going to try that. Because, unless there's something I'm missing, that's going to adjust all of your Z height and you're going to cut down from there. So if it's off, like this one a tiny bit because I misread my calipers, it wouldn't matter. I could still use my fixed location on my wasteboard, then probe the Z. I'd have to change that top height, but that's not a big deal. Yeah, I got to try that because I think that would I think that would take all of this out of the equation. Unless I'm missing something, but the way I'm seeing it, none of this would matter because it's going to cut from here down instead of from here up. Huh. I don't know why I never really thought about that. There's lots of ways to do it. But yeah, that would take that variation in thickness out. I'm going to try that. I'm going to try that when we're done. I'm thicknessing some more test blanks right while I was working on that just before we started hanging out. We're thicknessing some now. I'm going to get it as close as I can, but I'm going to intentionally leave it a little off and then probe off of the top. I just got to change that setup in my model. It's not a big deal. Thanks, Highline. That helps a lot. So that's the way you do it. Yeah. Right on. Dallo says, actually, my CNC bed has not good Z-axis balance. So some programs like Universal G-Code Sender offer that function to make sure the Z-axis can be equal for XY table. So I'm trying to use that. Interesting. Robert says, glad I mentioned that comment. It allowed you to figure out the issue. Yes, you got me thinking about things a little bit different, and I'm glad I decided to remeasure that because, yeah, that is totally why, 100% why I got that ridge on both sides because, well, the thickness is off, and I'm measuring off the bottom, so it's going to literally move exactly the height that I tell it to, and it's going to leave that ridge because it needed to go a little higher because I had that messed up. See, and they say, Highline, they say the machine does all the work, huh? Not a chance. Adela says, or maybe you set the radial rest. Yeah, I had, Sam says, measure twice, cut once. Yep. Yeah, I had a set wrong. Well, I mean, I had the machine set correctly, but yeah. Robert says, that's the reason I like the digital calipers. Harder to misread the settings. I agree with that, but I prefer a set of dial calipers. I really do. The digitals they're all right. One of the main reasons I don't like them is the dang batteries are always dead. And that drives me nuts. There's nothing worse than, I need to use my measurers and it won't turn on because the battery's dead. Well, then it takes, some weird size and then I don't happen to have one. So then I have to go get one, and these always work 100% of the time. I have a pair of digital ones. I never use them. Well, once in a great while I'll use them. But most of the time, these are my go-tos. These are a set of Fowlers. And I've had these for years. It came in a little set like this with micrometers and all that. And I like my dial calipers. But to your point, you got to be able to read it right. And apparently I've forgotten or something. I don't know. Little brain fade there. Terry says, hey, you all, have a great day. Need to get back to work. Right on, Terry. Well, thanks for stopping by. I hope you have an awesome day. Hope you have an awesome week. Know your Joes. Learning together is good. It is. So you can, I don't know how all of you learn, but I know I learn by making mistakes, right? make mistakes, learn from the mistakes, move forward. Hence this. I've got a dozen, literally a dozen test necks here. And I think on those necks, I have made every single mistake. I've broken bits. I've ruined pieces. I've cut things in the wrong spot. I've cut things in the right spot. I have messed up here, messed up there. I feel like everything that could probably happen, although there's probably more. But I feel like I've made most of those mistakes on these. And every time that happens, I go, oh, okay. We're not going to do that the next time. and that's how I learn. I gotta screw stuff up. I mean, I hate that maybe wasting material. To me, it's not, because this stock isn't great. The stuff that I'm using, I had high hopes for when I milled it with my chainsaw mill. It's not great stock. I've got quite a bit of it. So to me, it's not wasting it. It's how I'm learning. I'm learning how to do everything. I've tried so many different methods, processes, flipping different things. And that's how I learn. I gotta make mistakes. And if I can make a mistake and it helps somebody out, I'm totally cool with that. Because I'm figuring this out myself. I haven't been running a CNC machine for years and years. Like I said, I've had mine for a year and a half. I've used it to cut flat stuff, and it works awesome. I've made my guitar, my acoustic side bender, cut out the parts and pieces, drilled holes, cut, that sort of thing. But that's totally different than trying to do a guitar neck. Not only is one surface contoured, but two surfaces are contoured, and you got a bit of, there's just a whole bunch of different things. And I'm just now spending the time getting this figured out. So I hope my mistakes can help somebody else. Sam says, be safe, Terry. Corey says, I can look at the piece of wood and you're over. I don't need calipers to tell me that. But you got those eye calipers. Eye chrometers, that's it. Yeah, it's over. It's over. I measured it a bunch of times. And I didn't think it was over. But it surely is over. It's over. Should be over by about, well, the thickness of that ridge. Harry Dude's here! Harry Dude says, what's up? Sorry I'm late. Busy in the shop and lost track of time. That's all right, Harry Dude. How are you doing this fine Thursday morning for you? What have you been working on that's got you all wrapped up in the shop? Robert says, I think the way to set the zero is the best sense as if it's constant. Corey says you're within 50 thousandths of an inch. Within 50 thousandths. I think it's actually 40. 32. How about that? I'm 32 thousandths over. Let's see if we can carefully measure this without everything being on a stable. Let's see here. What can we measure that ridge? You probably can't see that. 32 thousandths. Or very close. I can't hold it steady enough. Yeah, it is literally the same depth. As close as I can get it. Yeah, the same depth thereabouts as I'm over on the thickness. That says 35. So note to self. Okay, that one, yeah, that's about right. That's 35 thousandths. At least I know my z-axis isn't off. Time surfing that says that seems to be helping. Thanks. Highline says, gotta run, dying a guitar body. Right on, Highline. Thanks for stopping in. Have an awesome day. Build some guitars. Jimmer says, it's only as smart as the programmer. You are 100% correct. So, oh, Sam, good point. Sam says they work 100% of the time, if read correctly. Well, you're right. It worked that time. I just didn't work correctly. Scott says, last set of calipers I bought actually had an on-off switch so I could turn it off, not a timeout, which kills the battery. Mine has an on-off switch as well, but I don't know why. The battery never seems to work when I want it to work. Time Surfing says, I should be the smartest guy in the world. I've made plenty of mistakes. Haven't we all? Robert says, to Scott, my set of calipers has an on-off switch as well. I've had it for maybe 5 or 6 years and have not had to replace the battery even once. See? I don't understand. Mine, not mine. I've got several. In fact, I'm going to grab one right now, one that I have. Is this it? No. These are cool. But I'll bet you. Anybody ever used one of these? Right? Has this little thing so you can measure. I think this has a 1/2 inch capacity. This one's notorious, right? On-off button. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. And it has not even been a year since I've changed this. I think it was actually over the winter, so maybe 6 months. Completely nothing. Completely dead. I don't know what kind of battery this takes. This takes a 2032. So I might have one of those. In fact, I know I have those because that's an Energizer, and I'm going to leave that out so I can change it. Although I don't know. They always die. I don't understand it. I don't know. I've got a pair like this in the house that I had to change not too long ago as well. Digital ones. That's just my luck with batteries. Scott says, my previous one only had the timeout to turn it off. Harry Dude says, setting up a customer's PRS right now. Very nice guitar. Every time a PRS comes, I'm tempted to get one for myself. Yeah, PRS are nice. I know what you mean. I've not looked into their lefties though. I don't know what they have, or if you can get. You know, there's a couple companies out there that I know you can get whatever model in a lefty, and maybe that's one of them. I don't know. I'd have to look. Scott says, gotta go. 12 o'clock meeting. We'll have to watch the rest later. Have a great weekend. Right on, Scott. We'll have a good meeting. I got a meeting to get to here before too long as well. Not really an official meeting, but I got a meeting with my drum sander to get some stock ready to make another cut. Time Serpent says, PRS out of my budget range, but my Ivy copy is awesome. See what I did there? Right on. Yeah, the PRSs are super nice. I got a buddy that's got, well, I have a couple buddies that have one, and they're super cool. Harry Dude says, digital calipers? No time for that crap. Battery munching rubbish. Yes. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I mean, they're convenient, right? I'm not denying that, but they're always dead. Mine are always dead. Let me correct that. These are my go-to. But we were talking earlier Harry, dude, just so you're up to speed, I'm working on this body, fine tuning things, and I was getting this weird ridge that should be flush with the top, and I thought it was an issue with the Z height on my CNC. So I was doing some different calibrations, trying to figure out, how I'm going to verify all of that, and come to find out, I had a brain fade on reading these 32, 35 thousandths over thickness. And that's exactly what that ridge is. So that's how we got to talking about calipers. It's totally my mismeasurement that caused that. And then we got to talking about battery calipers and dial calipers, and my preference is dial. Robert says, admit it, Jeff. You're just an old school type of guy. Robert, you are correct. I like old school stuff. I like some of the new stuff, fancy technology things. But yeah, I do. I like the old school things. I like the manual tools, and I don't know. I am, but you're right. I'm just kind of old school like that. Sam says, thank you for the fantastic stream today, Jeff. You legend. Right on, Sam. And thank you. Yeah, we're going to wrap this up. I'm going to go thickness sand some more stock, take some better measurements using my non-battery operated dial calipers. And I'm going to try zeroing off of the top of my workpiece instead of the bed. And that should take care of most of my issues, I think. So I gotta make a few changes in my G-code files. I think that's going to work. I'm glad we came to that conclusion. At least it gives me something to try. Time Surfing Alien says, thanks for all the help, guys and gals. Happy Father's Day, dads. Yes, happy Father's Day, everyone. To those of you that are fathers, and well, everybody's got fathers, so if you have the privilege to still have your dad around, give him a call, go visit him, all that stuff. Happy Father's Day, everyone. Don't forget, it's this Sunday. I didn't know that until we got the reminder from Time Surfing. Time Surfing says, I reject tech for as long as I can. I am very similar to that with a lot of things. There's some things that I think are pretty cool. And there's a lot of stuff that's pretty cool. But I like my old school ways. Jimmer says, you know me, old school rules. Yeah, it does. That's how we roll. Dallas says, have a great week, all. Robert says, I just did a quick search of left-handed PRS, and they do sell them. Prices between $600 to a bit over $1,000. Interesting. Harry Dude says, if you calibrate from the bed, can you CNC surface the body first? Yes, you can. You absolutely can, and that would correct all of that. I've been leaving that surface operation off because the way I've been doing it so far is I'm prepping the blank first with my drum sander, because I didn't really want to spend that extra time on the machine, surfacing it. But to your point, yes, that would take out any variability that would remove all of that and correct any inconsistencies. That's a perfectly valid option. It's just not one that I've done yet, because we're talking a blank, big body blank. It takes, well, it depends on the size of the bit. It doesn't take all that long, but yes, you are correct. You surface it, it doesn't matter, right? You're going to correct any irregularities. There's the word. It's just not something I have into my operation, because I'd almost, at least not at the moment. Maybe I'll get to that. I don't know. The more I work through this, the more I find different ways to do things. I've just been trying to avoid the majority of bit changes. Really, that's the only reason I haven't, because I've already got several bit changes, tool changes. But yeah, that would fix it if you surface it first, once you calibrate off the bed. But I want to experiment with zeroing off of the top of the workpiece. I'm going to try that. I haven't yet for this particular project. See if that, if that's an easy change. It might not be a bad idea. I don't know. I'm learning as I go. Robert says, everyone stay safe and healthy. Right on, everybody. Thank you for tuning in today. It's always my pleasure to hang out with all of you. I love the randomness of the conversations from time to time. It's super cool. So thank you for that. I know your Joe says digital calipers always dead for me too. Got an awesome polymer dial set that always works. Got to get for now. We'll try to get here sooner next week. Have a good one. Thanks for sharing. Right on, Know Your Joe. Thanks for stopping in. So, guys, we're going to wrap this up. I'm going to get back to work, making another blank, cutting another body. I can't even speak now. More coffee. But we're going to wrap this up. I'm going to get out. Oh, you see that? I got hit in the head with a moth. It's Miller moth season here, and they're everywhere. But thanks so much for tuning in. I really appreciate you guys taking some time to hang out with me here in my little workshop. So we're going to get out of here. You guys, get out in your shops, get outside, build some things, spend some time outside. If it's not too cold, hairy dude, moths are everywhere. Go away. Anyway, guys, thanks again. Tuning out. Till next time. Thanks a lot for watching. Stay safe, stay well. Have a good rest of your week. We'll see you next time. Here we go, hitting the button. Later, guys.